Okay, welcome to the scheduled meeting of the 17th of February 2026, which is being held in person at the Council Chamber in the Civic Centre, 25 Ferris Boulevard, South Morang. This meeting is also being live streamed. I'm Councillor Laurie Cox, the Mayor of the City of Whittlesea, and I'd like to introduce our councillors in attendance tonight. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Blair Corwell, Councillor Daniela Zinni, Councillor David Lenberg, Councillor Michael Labrador, Councillor Aidan McLinden, Councillor Jared Lappin, and we also have online Councillor Christine Stowe, Councillor Martin Taylor and Councillor Deborah Gunn. Thank you. I'd also like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer, Craig Lloyd, and ask that he introduce the members of the Executive Leadership Team.
Thank you, Chair. With us tonight we have the Director of Planning and Development, Emma Appleton, Director of Community Wellbeing, Agata Himalevsky, our Director of Corporate and Customer Services, Sarah Renner, our Director of Infrastructure and Environment, Debbie Wood, the Acting Executive Manager of Public Affairs, Sarah Oldman, and at the table here, the Executive Manager of Office of Council and CEO, Jacinta Stevens. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. On behalf of Council, I recognise the rich Aboriginal heritage of this country and acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung clan and the Taungurung people as the traditional owners of the land within the City of Whittlesea. I would also like to personally acknowledge Elders past, present and emerging. I will now read our Diversity and Good Governance Statement. At the City of Whittlesea, we are proud of our diversity and the many cultures, faiths and beliefs that make up our community. We strive to be inclusive, welcoming city that fosters active participation, wellbeing and connection to each other and this land. We commit as a council to making informed decisions to benefit the people of the City of Whittlesea now and into the future, to support our community's vision of a place for all. I note there are no apologies for this evening's meeting and we'll move into acknowledgements. Australia Day honours. I would like to extend, on behalf of Council, congratulations to two of our members of the community, I'll acknowledge a third as well, who were recently awarded the Medal of Order of Australia in this year's Australia Day honours. Miss Manha Regina Lung Hunning was recognised for her outstanding service to the community of the City of Whittlesea. She has shown exceptional dedication through leadership of the Whittlesea Chinese Association, coordination of major cultural and fundraising events, and decades of volunteer service at the St Francis Assisi Catholic Church in Mill Park. We also acknowledge Barry William Richards from Mill Park, who was recognised for his dedicated service to the welfare of veterans. He has dedicated more than a decade to advocating for veterans through the Returned Services League of Australia and has provided long-standing advocacy and support as a pensions and military compensation advocate assisting veterans and their families. I'd also acknowledge, whilst not a resident, a member of the Epping RSL, Kevin O'Callaghan, who was also awarded the Medal of Australia for his service to the community as a member of the Epping RSL sub-branch. Kevin's dedicated decades of service and volunteering through a range of organisations, including the State Emergency Services. And lastly, I would also like to congratulate the Whittlesea Inspector, Kate O'Neill, on being awarded the Australian Police Medal as part of this year's Australia Day honours, recognising her distinguished service as a member of the Victorian Police over a 25-year career. She has served across the investigations, intelligence, training, emergency management and specialist units and has led major operational deployments, notably during the 2019 and 20 bushfires. And we acknowledge and congratulate each of those individuals on their awards. I'll pass to the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the past month, we have seen some devastating fires across the state, including in our immediate neighbouring council areas in the north. While the fires did not directly impact the City of Whittlesea, Council supported the broader regional response and continue to do so through staffing, information hubs, and providing specialist support such as arborists, engineers, and building surveyors, among other roles. During this time, a total of 186 staff have been involved in our response. This includes 150 staff from the City of Whittlesea and 36 from the Northern Collaboration Group. I'd like to sincerely thank everyone who has contributed to this response. Supporting people at their most vulnerable requires compassion, professionalism and commitment. And the way our staff have supported neighbouring communities has been outstanding. Thank you. Resignation of Mr Brooks and Thomastown Ward by-election. On the 11th of January, Councillor Nick Brooks resigned from his position as Ward Councillor for Thomastown for personal reasons. Nick Brooks was elected to Council in November 2024, local government elections, and served on a number of committees in this time. On behalf of Council, I would like to thank Mr Brooks for his service to the City of Whittlesea community. The Victorian Electoral Commission will conduct a by-election for the Thomastown Ward vacancy in May. More information on the by-election is available on the City of Whittlesea website. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'd also like to acknowledge the passing of Robert, more likely known as Bob Draper, who we would pass on our condolences to the family and friends of Robert Draper, who has recently passed away. Robert was a past president and life member of the Whittlesea Agricultural Society and also the Whittlesea Historical Society. He made a lasting contribution to our community. He was an instigator of the Pioneer Pavilion at the Whittlesea Showgrounds, a project he was extremely proud of and one that will remain part of his legacy. And he also attended the most recent 50th anniversary of the Whittlesea Historical Society and gave a presentation. We'd like to acknowledge his dedication to the community, and our thoughts are with Robert's family and friends. Thank you. I now move on to the declarations of conflict of interest. Councillors and officers, if you have a conflict of interest in any item on the agenda, you may verbally disclose the type and nature of the interest now, but you must also make the declaration immediately before consideration of the matter in question. Councillors, are there any items that you have a conflict of interest to declare? Okay. Officers, are there any items in which you have a conflict of interest to declare?
No,
Yes,
Chair.
Chair. Chair, I'd like to declare that I have a material conflict of interest in item 10.1, which is the CEO Employment Matters CEO contract item.
Thank you. We'll move on to the confirmation of minutes, and I seek a motion to confirm the minutes of the preceding meeting on the 16th of December. So can I have a mover? Councillor Corwell, the Deputy Mayor. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Lappin. I will now put the matter to a vote. All those in favour of confirming the minutes, please raise your hand. And I can see 3 hands on screen. Yes, Councillor Stowe, don't move. So it's carried unanimously. I'll now move to public question time. Council allows up to 30 minutes of public questions, petitions or joint letters from our community. Any questions submitted that are not in accordance with the governance rules are either declined or held over to the next scheduled meeting. And sorry, I've jumped over here. Public questions will be read out by the CEO's delegate and responded to by the CEO is the process. Again, I'll repeat, any questions submitted that are not in accordance with the governance rules are either declined or held over to the next scheduled council meeting. All questions and responses will be included into the minutes of the council meeting. And I've note that we have received 1 public question in accordance with the governance rules. No introductory or background statements in relation to the question will be read out. I'll now hand over to Jacinta Stevens, the Executive Manager, Office of Council and CEO, to read the question, and Craig Lloyd, the CEO, will provide a response.
Thank you, Chair. We have the 1 question from Nick Brain on behalf of Better Deal Whittlesea. The question is, can Council explain how it is balancing funding requirements for planned major regional sporting facilities? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Brain, for your question. Council manages investment in major regional facilities through clear prioritisation and phased delivery. Major regional facilities are only progressed where there is a demonstrated demand, strong participation growth and alignment with adopted strategies. These projects are assessed not just on community benefit, but also on whole-of-life costs, affordability and the impact on Council's long-term financial position. At the same time, renewal and upgrade of local clubs, grounds and community parks remains a core priority. No single project is funded at the expense of the broader network of community infrastructure. Investment decisions consider equity, participation levels, asset condition and community need. This approach ensures Council can deliver regional facilities whilst continuing to support grassroots sport and everyday community use across the municipality. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now move to item 4.2, the petitions. 4.21, there's a petition on capping of council rates. Petition has been received from 17 residents requesting Council consider a concept that the level of council rates to be levied against residents be based on the cost of the services provided by Council and that the rates be capped at $1,400 irrespective of the value of their property. I'd ask for, there is a recommendation and I would ask for a mover. Thank you, Councillor McLinden. I have a seconder. Oh, sorry, you're moving the recommendation.
Thanks, Chair. I'll move the recommendation that the petition be received, a capping of council rates 4.2.1.
Noting the petition. Yep. Sorry. Seconder. Councillor Labrador. Thank you. Councillor McLinden, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Look, I think any person who has the intent of saving money or having ideas to throw out there, I think is welcomed. I thank those residents for signing that petition. Keeps us on our toes, gives us good ideas. We can tick or flick and put it into the mix. But I do thank those residents for putting their concerns forward. Whether or not that's realistically achievable is another question, but I think it's incumbent on us to be able to make sure that we've got all these ideas, put them in the table, and as you know, it's no secret that I've sort of pushed for a rates freeze for 2 years, and that's been my position. And I think we welcome this idea, and we continue to welcome ideas with the community and take on board their concerns so that we can make sure, especially leading into the budget and the cost of living crisis in Victoria and Australia, that we can make sure that we take these great ideas into account. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Seconder, wish to speak?
Yes, Chair, thank you. I think, just to echo what Councillor McLinden was saying, I think, in a cost of living crisis, it's important for us to really look at what we're charging our residents. Though I might disagree with the amount, I agree with the sentiment that it's important to save, important to think about where we're spending our money, and I appreciate the residents that signed and submitted the petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other councillor wish to speak? No. No one online. Okay, I'll now put the motion to a vote and I'll ask all those in favour, please raise your hand. All those... I'll just ask again, all those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's carried unanimously. There's no joint letters under item 4.3, and I will now move to consideration of reports, and we'll move to item 5.1, Council's grants policy. I'll now hand over to the Director of Customer and Corporate Services to present the report. Thanks, Sarah. Away you go.
Good evening, Chair and Councillors. This evening we are proud to present to you Council's grants policy for endorsement. Adrian, our Manager, EPMO and Change, will introduce the paper.
Thank you, Sarah. Good evening, Mayor and Councillors. This evening we present to you Council's grants policy for endorsement. The policy is an external-facing document for community to refer and reference and includes 4 key purposes: to provide definitions of grants to be offered by Council, confirm the minimum eligibility requirements applied to all grants offered by Council. It makes transparent the role of Council and which areas of Council approve grants, Section 8. It provides community an understanding of their responsibility if they choose to apply and are successful in being awarded a Council grant, Section 9. The policy will apply to all grants offered by Council only, and there are 3 key instruments of best practice underpinning this policy across all 3 levels of government. That being the national level, the Commonwealth Grant Rules and Principles 2024, defining the selection process of grant categories under Section 6.2.2. At the state level, the Victorian Auditor General's Office report on fraud control over local government grants 2022, and referencing Section 4. And at the local level, our Community Grants Framework, which came into effect in August 2023. This policy demonstrates Council's ongoing commitment to strengthening governance and supporting City of Whittlesea residents, groups, organisations and businesses to thrive. The Office's recommendation is that Council resolve to adopt the Council Grants Policy at Attachment 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any councillor have questions on the report? Doesn't appear to be. Do I have a motion? Councillor Lappin?
Yes, please, Chair. I'd like to support the officer's recommendation.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Colwell? Does the mover wish to speak to the resolution?
Yes, please, Chair, just briefly. So I want to thank the grants team for developing this new policy. It's concise and it reads well. I think our grants program at Whittlesea is fantastic. I think the level of support these grants offer our community is massive, and it allows for a great diversity of programs and events that reflect our residents. It also provides essential support for our local CFA and SES, and our neighbourhood houses, which I know especially Murner Neighbourhood House do interesting work that brings people together in positive ways. And so I hope this new policy, we see a lot more grants coming through. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The seconder wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think, as highlighted by the officers during their report, it's important to acknowledge that this policy is underpinned by the VAGO report, which sets out best practice in terms of how we do a grants process. In addition to the policy, there'll be a set of guidelines that support how we assess the grants and have additional layers of governance and a rigour around it. So I'd like to thank the officers for the work they've done in producing the policy, and I'm glad and relieved to see that we're adopting best practice here in the City of Whittlesea in the way that we administer our grants process. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other councillor wish to contribute? See no hands. On that basis, I'll put the motion to a vote, and I'll ask all those in favour to please raise your hand. Okay, so we've got Councillor Lenberg, Councillor Zinni, Councillor Colwell, Councillor Cox, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe, Councillor Taylor, Councillor Gunn. All those against? All those abstaining? Councillor Labrador and Councillor McLinden. Thank you. The motion is carried. We'll now move to item 5.2, the Hawkstone Station East Development Plan. And I will now hand over to the Director of Planning and Development to present the report. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Chair. Tonight we're pleased to present a proposed development plan for the land at 1180 Plenty Road, South Morang. The development plan, which has been prepared by the owner and developer of the site, proposes a future residential development comprising approximately 80 homes, including detached dwellings and townhouses, which will help meet Whittlesea's housing needs. Future residents will benefit from close proximity to Hawkstone train station and existing services in the area, including schools and open space. The plan also incorporates positive environmental outcomes and supports Council's objectives in the planning for well-designed neighbourhoods that are livable for our community. I'm joined by Liam, our Manager for Strategic Futures, and Justin, our Senior Strategic Planner, who will provide further detail.
Thank you, Emma. The Hawkstow Development Plan, which is submitted for Council's approval, will facilitate residential development on this site for approximately 6 standard density houses and approximately 75 townhouses on a site that's currently zoned for residential use and development. The plan also provides for a connected streetwork, pedestrian connections and an ephemeral wetland in order to manage stormwater runoff. Consistent with state and local planning policy, the development plan supports the increased diversity of housing options for the community and responds to the location. The location is close to the Hawkstow train station by providing for smaller and more affordable housing products that are close to this station. The plan also incorporates positive environmental outcomes, including a 26-metre wide ephemeral wetland corridor, which is to both manage stormwater runoff and also to provide a high amenity landscape for the development. The corridor also protects a number of river red gum trees that are located on Council's adjoining open space reserve. Access to the development plan area will be provided via the existing local street network, namely via Stanhope Crescent and Sargood Drive to the north. No access is proposed via Plenty Road. A pedestrian path is proposed to connect to the site with the train station and to the existing shared path network. A public consultation process was undertaken for a period of 4 weeks, and the plan was exhibited to nearby residents and the relevant authorities. The plan provides for an appropriate response to the outcomes of the consultation process. The plan has been prepared with regards to the Whittlesea planning scheme and state planning policy, including both Plan for Victoria and the housing policy, which aim to increase the supply of housing, particularly on sites that are close to public transport. Given that the proposed development plan is consistent with and implements both state and local policy, the report recommends that Council approve the Hawkstow East Development Plan. Thank you.
Any questions? Sorry, Councillor Stowe.
I have 2 questions. I was just wanting, one question is, what did the public consultation process provide? Like what feedback, what was people's thoughts? And has there been provision for enough noise dampening for the interface between Plenty Road and the development?
Thank you, Councillor Stowe. So during the consultation process, we received 1 submission with 4 signatures on it from some nearby residents. That raised questions around the ephemeral wetland, whether or not there was things like pests, snakes, mosquitoes were likely to breed there. It also raised some questions around the potential to limit the development to single story only, as well as questions around vehicle access to the site.
Thank you. Other questions?
The second question I had.
Yep.
And that was in regards, sorry, to the noise to Plenty Road?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So the development plan does not include measures to manage noise to the arterial road. That is normally done under the building code or the Building Act in terms of construction materials. Although it is consistent with the development that's already along Plenty Road. So there's numerous examples along there, and particularly that section of Plenty Road. It's not considered to have any significant adverse noise impacts on future residents. There's also a bit of a buffer between Plenty Road and the site, so there is a shared path that runs through there, and then there will be potential for things like landscaping to offset that even further from Plenty Road. But we don't anticipate that there will be any significant or adverse impacts in terms of noise to future residents from the road.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there's a buffer in trees and pathways, but also the building materials as well will provide that buffer. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. And that is consistent with the development that is already along Plenty Road as well.
Okay, I was just clarifying. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor.
Thank you. Other questions? Being none, could I have a motion, please? Thank you, officers, and I did fail to thank Sarah and Adrian before. So, Councillor Lappin, you're moving.
Yes, please, Chair. I'd like to move the officer's recommendation.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Lindberg. Sorry, going what I saw. Do you wish to speak to the resolution? Motion?
Yes, please, Chair. Yeah. And so I find this kind of development is it's a great idea, and I'm really glad to see it coming before council. medium density housing around public and active transport offers a lot of benefits. Being able to walk or cycle to Hawkesbury Station, or having access to Yanyan Pipe Track or close proximity to parks and living there really offers future residents in that site a high quality lifestyle. This development is clearly in the very early stages, but the work up to this point looks great, and the potential this site offers is very exciting. I hope this development can be used as a bit of an example on how to build really functional future density and really utilise our railway infrastructure and active transport networks which we have here. I think Mernda and South Morang are areas which are very beautiful, and I feel like this development really brings that connection to those natural assets forward for those residents who will eventually live there on that site. So yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Lenberg, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Although I agree that this is a great development, I think that there is missed opportunity, and it's got nothing to do with council's responsibilities. I think the state government and the federal government are looking to ease the housing crisis, and therefore they need to look at opportunities for housing development close to public infrastructure that already exists. We've got a massive urban sprawl occurring, which is abutting our Green Wedge area. I don't want to see any more pressure put on that. So I think that we need to come up with ways that the state policy needs to change. It's not currently viable for developers to be able to build higher density close to existing infrastructure. Things like apartments, you know, the cost of a house is the price of an apartment currently. So I think it's for the state government to be supporting developers by offering incentives to be able to deliver a higher density closer to existing infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Councillor Stowe.
Yes, I had my misgivings about this development having the noise impacts, but I'm satisfied now hearing from the officer that that'll be mitigated. I'm also excited about the development and being a higher density in proximity to Hawkesbury Station, and that we do need to build more denser housing around hubs like that, like stations. Having heard Councillor Lenberg's feedback though as well, I agree and totally wholeheartedly call on the state government to provide incentives to support builders to build more housing, because we are struggling for housing and we do need, there's builders going broke very often. So I concur with Councillor Lenberg's sentiments as well.
Thank you. Councillor Stowe, when you put your hand up, if you could just keep it to the centre of the screen, because that was why I'm missing. Yeah, thank you. Councillor McLinden.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I hesitate in not supporting this, but it's no reflection on the good work that the staff have done in council. As Councillor Lenberg has said, that our constraints are obviously, we have some very tight parameters, but we do need to send a very clear message to the state government that we can't be doing one block at a time. I'm a bit old school. I like to see the kids out there playing cricket and netball and footy and whatever they do, rather than being stuck in screens. But yes, I do understand, as Councillor Lappin said, that we do need to increase the high density near our existing infrastructure, particularly public transport. So my dissent on this is not certainly no reflection on the staff here at council. I think they're doing a fantastic job in the constraints we've been given. But as echoed by Councillor Stowe, I think we need to have a holistic plan. We can't, I don't think we can afford to keep having, continuing to build on urban sprawl, and we need to look at the capacity of our roads and networks as well. And in doing that, I think we need to make sure that we're very careful, even though we have limited input as a council, we can still send a very clear message to the state government that we're going to need a lot of assistance, not just from the developers, but the state government themselves as well. I think all sides of politics have landlocked us up and put us in this situation after many decades of poor planning, and that's why we're in catch-up mode at the moment. But having said that, I think the work that the officers have done is fantastic, and I really do hope, particularly for the car parking, I really do hope that the car per dwelling ratio doesn't end up like some of the decisions that have been made past across this city that we're sort of suffering from long term now. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Other speakers? Councillor Call.
Thank you, Mayor. While acknowledging some of the points that Councillor Lenberg made around the policy settings that we have at the state level and how that impacts how we do development at the local government level, it's important to realise we do have some levers to pull in terms of how we do housing supply. And part of the issues that we have with our housing crisis is that we need to have more housing stock. So council needs to be responsible about how it gets in the road of housing development. And when we see opportunities like we see today, where we're proposing housing development by a developer at medium density lots, which is going to deliver housing at different price points, which are more accessible for people that have different needs, I think it's important that we can support that. This is housing that is well located to access public transport and infrastructure in that way. I see it as a responsible form of development, although there's always areas for improvement and ways that we can look at maximising the value of land and address the issues of the urban sprawl. So I see this as a positive development, but also understanding what our role as a local government is in terms of what we can do to limit development and influence development in that space. So I think it's important that we support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cole. Councillor Labrador.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to echo Councillor Caldwell's remarks that, yes, this is a lever that we can pull, and this is one of the ways that we can actually impact housing supply. And I agree that we should endorse this motion to be able to build more houses for people, for our residents, for people in Whittlesea, and people wanting to move in. I think it's important to know that that we need to have housing that's fit for purpose, and not everyone is going to have acreage up in Whittlesea. Not everyone will want that. And I think there'll be some people, especially first-home buyers, families that might want to move into those lots that would be, if we didn't vote on this, that they wouldn't be able to access this housing. So I thought I'd just note those things, and also more so for the public. But regarding the noise, I think it's important to note as well that a point that wasn't added, and obviously thanks to the planning team for giving this information, but the lot that which this development is going to happen is 70 metres away from the train, and has some distance away from the train and also Plenty Road. But also important to note that there is already houses that are 35 metres away. So I think obviously noise doesn't seem to be an issue, but more so for the public, it's important for them to know that it's further away than the current houses, and with the development, I don't think this would be an issue. But yeah, I wholeheartedly support this motion, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. I'd also like to praise the good work of the council officers in relation to their presentation. I'd like to support the motion as presented, and I fully concur with the implementation of the wording as presented by Councillor Caldwell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other speakers? Being none, write a reply, because there's been a speaker technically against, if you wish.
No, thanks, Chair. That's fine.
Thank you. I'll now put the motion to a vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. So, Councillor Labrador, Councillor Lenberg, Councillor Zinni, Councillor Cole, Councillor Cox, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe, Councillor Taylor and Councillor Gunn. All those against, Councillor McLinden. Motion's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to item 5.3, the governance report, and I'll hand over to the Executive Manager, Office of Council and CEO to present the report.
Thank you, Chair. The governance report being presented this evening covers a range of governance matters to ensure public transparency. The first relates to the instrument of appointment from Council to authorise officers under Section 147 of the Planning Environment Act 1987 and Section 313 of the Local Government Act 2020. The next item relates to the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 9th of December 2025. The Audit and Risk Committee consider a range of matters, including a quarterly risk management report on strategic and operational risk and business continuity activities, the progress of the 25-26 annual internal audit program, and a fraud and corruption risk report, just to name a few of the items considered by the committee. In accordance with the Council Expense and Support Policy, councillors wishing to attend conferences interstate require approval of the council. The ALGA National General Assembly is being held in Canberra in June. Therefore, approval is being sought for the Mayor and up to 3 nominated councillors to attend. A summary of informal meetings of council between the period 11 December 2025 to 11 February 2026 is also attached to the office report for information. Officers are seeking council's consideration of each item presented in the governance report and seek a formal resolution based on the officer recommendations. Thank you.
Is there any questions of the governance report? Councillor Labrador.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Jacinta. I was just wondering if there were any councillors that were have declared that they will be going to ALGA. Obviously, Mayor on item 6 is declared, but...
Yeah, I can answer that question
Sure.
on the basis that I've spoken to the councillors that are present here tonight. I did actually raise it some time back, but failed to follow it up. I apologise. But of the councillors in the room, I've had indications from Councillor Lenberg, Councillor Lapp and Councillor McLinden that they would attend or seek to attend the conference. I'm not sure about the councillors online. Councillor Stowe's indicating yes. And
That's right, yeah, I'm indicating.
And Councillor Gunn. So there's actually 5 councillors indicating. 5 councillors plus the Mayor.
And just a follow-up question to that, it's limited to 3?
No,
councillors?
the resolution, the motion has only made a guide, but it's up to the council to determine how many want to go. I mean, certainly from past history, I'd encourage people. It's part of your training program. It's good for networking. It's good for understanding other local governments, how they operate. But equally, I wouldn't say the whole council needs to go. And I think that's certainly where we've been sharing it out. So it's up to... Sorry, I'll go back to them. Oh, sorry, Councillor McLinden.
Just a clarification, I think I didn't have an indication I would go. I think when we had a discussion was that, yeah, if all avenues are exhausted and no one wanted to go, that's fine. I do, though, given my position with the rates freeze, etc., I do think that 4 may be excessive in this cost of living crisis, and I think even in the little things we've got to be very careful. And that's where I'll probably support a mayor and 1 other only, and that's where I probably couldn't support all 4. I don't think, I think 2 coming back and reporting to the rest of us would be suffice, okay. But that's just a point of clarification.
Yeah, no, and sorry, thank you for that. We haven't actually got a formal motion on the table. I'll get there one day. So I'll ask for a mover of what? Sorry, I didn't finish the question, so there you go. Councillor Cobb.
Through the Chair, can I just confirm that Councillor McLinden is removing his interest in attending the VALGA?
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? So I can see a hand. Councillor Taylor.
Thanks, Chair. Can I just make an inquiry, please? I fully endorse the Mayor attending this conference as the civic leader of council. The other councillors that are attending, is it proposed that the costs of this would be taken from their professional development levy, or is council expected to pay for that in addition to the levy?
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. The cost to attend the conference will be attributed to the individual councillors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Stowe.
I was going to inquire as to the date. I can't see the date anywhere for the ALGA conference. It's in June, but what dates?
23.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Stowe. In point 6 of the officer recommendation, it's between the 23rd to the 25th of June.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Councillor Labrador.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry to be pedantic, but it's more just clarification for those around the table, whoever moves the motion. If someone is considering potentially limiting the amount of councillors that go, we would need to name the councillor on the motion. That's correct?
That's correct.
Sorry. Any other questions? Councillor Call, you're going to move.
Yes, please, Chair. I'd like to move the motion with the following additions to point 6, that being authorise the Mayor and Councillor Lemberg, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe and Councillor Gunn to attend the ALGA or ALGA National General Assembly to be held in Canberra between the periods of 23 to 25 June 2026 at an approximate cost per councillor of $3,200. Thank you.
Okay, so you're moving that, Councillor Caldwell, seconder. Councillor Stowe. Councillor Caldwell, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, attending conferences such as this are important training and development for councillors. I note that I won't be able to attend on this occasion, but I think it is important to have, we have set the precedent in the past where we've allowed a number of delegates to attend where they've been available. I think it's important to maintain that precedent as we move forward. And other councillors will be available in future years and future training sessions. So I think it's important that be moving how we move forward with that. Like I said, I think it's very important training and an opportunity to network. So that's why I think it's important that we have a delegation of councillors attend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I just clarify something? Councillor Taylor, did you indicate a preference to attend as well?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We're just clarifying, we weren't sure whether we saw it on the screen. Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Stowe. Do you wish to speak?
I don't have anything further to add to that.
Okay.
Can I make an amendment, please, Chair?
Yes?
I'd like to remove myself from the motion. I think it's important that we limit it, and I think having 3 attend is enough. I can get my professional development another way. Thank you.
That's fine. You're happy with that? So,
Yes, Mayor, I accept.
and Councillor Stowe, you're happy with the removal of Councillor Lemberg from the motion?
I'm happy with the removal, but my question would be, should it now be Councillor Lindberg moving an amendment to the motion? Just from a point of procedural.
No, he's asked to move an amendment. I've asked whether the mover was satisfied with the amendment and was prepared to adopt it. I'm asking you as the seconder. Are you prepared to do that?
Yeah, yes, I'm happy. I
Otherwise, I'll go
just
through all
thought
the
that if he's
process.
making an amendment that removes himself, then he should be moving a new amendment. But I'm happy, that's okay.
No worries. Hopefully everyone's on side.
Okay.
So, everyone clear on that? Sorry. So I'm just confirming that the resolution, point 6 reads, the Mayor, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe and Councillor Gunn. Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Councillor Stowe, you're happy with that?
Happy with that.
Thank you. Okay, any other speakers? That's where I was at. Councillor Labrador first.
It was actually more of a point of clarification, and it was sort of piggybacking off Councillor Taylor's question, which was that this $3,200 per councillor, this is not being allocated to their professional development?
Through you, Chair, yes it is. It will be
is.
attributed to the individual councillors' training conference and will be reported as such.
Thank you. I do have some speaking. Can I just speak?
Sorry?
Can I just speak? Or do we have to?
No.
Cool.
You've clarified, now you want to speak. Okay,
no,
that's
thank
fine.
you, Chair.
Go for it.
I don't know if you go back and forth. I think it's important for us to be responsible with ratepayer money. And secondly, I do think it's important for us to attend ALGA, particularly the Mayor, who is the principal spokesperson of Council, but I am in disagreement with 3 other councillors going along purely from the fact that this is ratepayer money. We are going to Canberra, and there are ratepayers out there who are doing it tough, who can't afford, food, can't afford electricity, gas. I think it's important for us to show restraint as a council, not spending their money, particularly as their rates continue to rise. So purely off that, I won't be supporting this motion, but everything else I do support. But yeah, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor McLindon?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I just didn't want councillors to take it personally. It doesn't bother me who's actually going. It's more of the fact that I think 2 would be suffice, and then they come back with a report. But I do congratulate Councillor Lenberg on seeing reason and withdrawing from that. But Canberra's not the greatest place to go, but I guess they can do some good networking and bring it back, and hopefully we get something out of it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Lappin?
Just briefly, Chair, just more of a point, just overall good. Everything's fine, no worries. I'll just encourage my councillor colleagues to use the briefing process to ask questions such as this, and I think it's important that councillors can develop professionally and not feel like they're wasting ratepayers' money. It's part of the process of being a councillor to be able to develop professionally and get better at your role. And so I'll be supporting the motion for that, and I think that other councillors should consider that it is important that we educate ourselves in order to make sure we're good at this role. And it's important, and I understand, it's all well and good to make points about rates and things like that, but I think that's irrelevant to what this discussion's about. I think this is about making sure our councillors are informed and can make the right decisions and be educated on the role of a councillor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Lappin. Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Chair. I think it's important that we are also, as councillors, mindful in relation to our expenditure, especially in relation to the representation of our wards. I think in this regard, though, I do support this particular motion, definitely for the Mayor to attend and for councillors, provided the councillors' finances for attendance is coming from their professional development money. Now, I know that item 6 has been amended. I'm sorry, Chair, for a couple of reasons. I can't read it. Would you please be able to read out what item 6 currently stands, please?
Okay, item 6 now reads as authorise the Mayor, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe, Councillor Gunn to attend the ALGA National General Assembly to be held in Canberra between the period 23 to 25 June at an approximate cost per councillor of $3,200.
Thank you. And that cost, just reaffirming, is coming from the professional development allocation per councillor that's allocated for professional development. That's correct, isn't it?
That's correct, Councillor Taylor.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Zinni.
Thank you, Chair. I understand the sentiment that Councillor Labrador is stating in terms of the monetary value, but I attended last year, and I think for me it really highlighted just how important networking with other councils is, other mayors, other CEOs. It helps us build a collaboration for our future. We've got a huge municipality. We've got a growing community. We can't just remain isolated. We have to actually expand a network. This is a great opportunity. The ALGA National General Assembly, I was able to meet a lot of people. I actually got to meet the Governor General. So I think sending people like us, councillors, who don't have experience in this sort of sector, it's important if you haven't been before. It is part of your personal development. Any role you have in the world, you have entitlements to personal development. We can reduce the days, like I only went for 1 day last year because I felt that would be enough. But also we can reduce our other personal developments, and we have got a budget coming up, so we are able to focus on so many reductions for our municipality. This is just one of them, and I think this is an important thing for the sector for us to all attend as councillors. So I will be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any councillor that hasn't spoken wish to speak?
Do I get to speak again? Because I didn't really speak, did I?
You didn't actually reserve your right, but I just ask if someone declines to speak when you're seconding, which you did, just indicate that you want to reserve your right, and that way I can come back to you. So, Councillor Stowe, I'll give you the right in the role as a seconder.
Well, on the back of what Councillor Zinni said and Councillor Lappin and Councillor Labrador, yes, we need to limit our expenditure. We need to be very careful what we do. We need to be careful in the budget. But I think as much like Councillor Zinni was saying that we should go for professional development, I think it's a duty almost to go and learn. And because if we're not developed enough professionally, then we can't undertake our role well. So I think it's incumbent on us rather than an expenditure. It's an investment really in our municipality. So I was just backing up what Councillor Zinni was saying.
Thank you, Councillor Stowe. No one else? On that basis, the right of reply is there if you wish it. Councillor Caldwell?
Look, thank you, Mayor. I'll be very brief in my reply. I think there was some really good points that Councillor Stowe was raising there about duty and responsibility to maintain a level of proficiency and professionalism, and I think this is one of those opportunities that can be done. A trip to Canberra is not a junket, it's not a holiday, it's not a fun thing to do. Taking the trip myself, I understand it's a very cold place in the middle of winter, so I don't envy my colleagues attending the ALGA conference, and wish them all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. I'll now put the motion to a vote, and I'll ask all those in favour to raise their hands, please. So, Councillor Zinni, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Cox, Councillor Lappin, Councillor Stowe, Councillor Taylor, Councillor Gunn. All those against? So, Councillor Labrador, Councillor Lenberg, Councillor McLinden. The motion is carried. Thank you. And we'll now move on to item 6, notice of motions. There are no notice of motions. Urgent business. Is there any items of urgent business? Councillors? No. CEO, do you have any items of urgent business?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now move to reports of council representatives and the CEO update. So councillors can read out the report and activities. And Councillor Caldwell, do you wish to commence, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, it's been a very busy period since our last council meeting in December, but I think I'll focus on one highlight for me, and that was the opening and launch of the Aboriginal Gathering Place in Bunjil Noongar Parkland. It was such a privilege to participate in the official opening of the Aboriginal Gathering Place, knowing how much effort and advocacy so many people have put into this project over the years. I first became interested in Aboriginal Gathering Place more than 20 years ago, speaking with elders who had talked of the importance of places to come together, celebrate community, culture and kinship. These elders talked of the importance of safe, welcoming spaces with strengthened identity and pride in community. I want to personally thank the WAGPAG members, the WAGPAG being the Whittlesea Aboriginal Gathering Place Advisory Group, and those are Alistair Thorpe, Karen Bryant, Andrew Morrison, Beck Lilly and Anita North, and I don't think I've missed out anyone there, but they're the current members that have done some wonderful work in progressing this project and making it possible. I'd also like to thank previous community members, elders and staff members, both current and previous, who have contributed to the delivery of the Whittlesea Aboriginal Gathering Place and its establishment in the Bunjil Noongar Quarry Hills Parkland. May it be a cradle for reconciliation and community strengthening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Zinni.
Thank you, Chair. I was quite active in my ward this last month. I attended the Coffee with Council at Bundoora Square at Lucio's, my favourite cafe, and also attended the Bundoora Beats community event, which had local music from all jazzy kind of music that a lot of the residents heard throughout the night, and it was an exciting time to be there. So it was a huge event, and I want to thank all the community members out there that attended, lots of children, and we had lots of fun on the day. I also attended 2 citizenship ceremonies this month and welcomed quite a lot of new residents with the Mayor. And I also attended with the Mayor and a few of our other councillors and Councillor Caldwell, the Aboriginal Gathering Place and the Quarry Hills Bunjil Noongar Parklands. So that was a lovely day. The weather was hot, but those views from that Aboriginal gathering place are just unbelievable. So if you have an opportunity to get up there, please do so. It is located in Hunter's Place in South Morang. Hunter's Road, South Morang. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lindbergh.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to break the mould a bit, so bear with me. Over the Christmas and New Year break, I was fortunate enough to travel across our amazing country for 4 weeks. I travelled thousands of kilometres across Australia, from Melbourne to Perth and back again, crossing Western Australia, South Australia and Victoria. What started out as a road trip quickly became something more, a reflection of the state of our nation, our sense of pride and our collective optimism. Now stick with me here, I promise I will get to the point. In Western Australia, I was struck by the sheer quality of roads. From Perth to the South Australian border, the highways are wide, smooth and beautifully maintained, a statement of intent as much as infrastructure. Perth itself feels confident. Civic spaces are spotless, graffiti is near non-existent, and the city projects a quiet sense of success. People seem optimistic, proud of how their state is run and where it's headed. Cross into South Australia, and that sense of purpose continues. The roads are narrower, but the quality remains strong. A reflection perhaps of a state that knows its limitation, yet invests wisely. Adelaide feels alive, anchored by major projects and a clear sense of direction. There's an energy there, a belief in progress without showmanship. But then, as you cross into Victoria, around border town, something changes. The bitumen breaks up, the ride gets rough, more like a bad showground attraction than a state highway. The shoulders crumble, the speed drops. It has to for safety reasons. The road markings fade, the optimism seems to fade with them. Even public amenities on the way into Melbourne told the same story: neglected, tired, forgotten. And that's where the thought struck me. Roads are more than transport corridors. They are metaphors, a reflection of how we manage, how we care, and how we see ourselves. In WA and South Australia, the highways mirror confidence and pride. In Victoria, they mirror something else: weariness, frustration, perhaps even resignation to a fate after 10 arduous years. This isn't about ideology. Every one of these states is governed by the same colour, so we can't blame party politics. What it shows instead is the leadership and pride make a difference, not the colour of the government, but the culture of the state. So what happened, Victoria? Where is our pride? Where is the sense of optimism that wants to find us? We are capable of so much more than potholes and neglect, both on our roads and in spirit. The rest of the country is moving forward. It's time we did too. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Labrador.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Lindbergh, for sharing.
Oh, sorry.
That's all good. First and foremost, before we get into it, I actually want to thank one person. Thanks to Nick Brooks for his service and his time here at the City of Whittlesea. Obviously, the public don't necessarily know what goes on behind closed doors within council, but being a councillor is a tough job, and there's lots of discussions, lots of arguments, lots of disagreements. There's politics, there are smears, there's mud thrown. I think there is a lot that goes on that the public don't see. So I would like to thank Nick Brooks for his service. Though cut short due to personal reasons, we appreciate his time here, his presence here, and I hope that, we can go for a beer sometime again. In terms of the things that I did since our last meeting, I spoke to a lot of residents. Obviously, our budget is coming up, and we are going through those deliberations. So, I think some of the main concerns that were raised were around roads. Obviously, I had to point to them that most of the roads that have problems are state-run roads, especially Dalton Road, McKimmy's Road, potholes galore. So obviously listening to them and putting that in my mind to say this is a piece of advocacy. We need better roads. Off the back of Councillor Lindbergh's statement, I think there needs to be better management of finances, better management of infrastructure, better management altogether. Lots. On top of that, a lot of the items that our residents brought up to me, the other biggest item outside of roads was crime. And obviously this is sort of outside of the purview of council, but it is our duty as well as councillors to push our state members to protect our people. And I think at the moment where it stands, there is crime rampant. Obviously, some people might disagree, but I think if those people who disagree, I don't know whether or not they've been a victim of crime. I myself have been a victim of crime in the past few years, and yeah, it's not a good feeling. It doesn't make you feel comfortable where you live. Obviously, we want the City of Whittlesea to be a place for all, a place where we can all live comfortably and safe. So I hear the remarks and the comments made by those I spoke to in Laylaw, and yeah, I hope that I can advocate on your behalf well to our state members, especially as we come up to a state election. I also wanted to say I attended a citizenship ceremony in January, and I think, yeah, it was a beautiful sight to see so many people come to Australia, come to Victoria, and settle here and choose to build their life here, choose to build their family here. So I'd like to congratulate all those people who came and became citizens that day. I'm glad that they were able to celebrate their first Australia Day as Australians, because the citizenship ceremony was a few days before that. And my hope for those new citizens are that I hope that you guys can build a life for yourselves, build hope for yourselves. I hope that you can contribute to our beautiful country and add to our country. And I hope that you are able to call yourselves Australians with pride and unapologetically call yourselves Australian. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McLinden.
Thank you, Chair. I too would like to acknowledge the work that Councillor Nick Brook, or I can probably call him Brooksy now, that he contributed in the time. Very stoic man. He sat there quietly, often wondered what he was thinking. I remember one of my first speeches, I was, blowing off about rates and, as you do. And he didn't move a budge. He just looked straight ahead, and I'm thinking, but does he support me or is he against me? I'm not quite sure, but he was certainly a calm head in some turbulent times. So I do wish him well. We will have different reasons for getting involved, and probably, our different reasons for having to call it a day. So I do wish him well in his future, and, maybe I'll be missed one day just as much as Brooksy will. You just never know. But there is something unique about being a representative in council. It's a very personal level of government, and it's not always easy. And I would say it's probably the toughest out of the three levels in terms of having to stand up for your residents, make sure that you can vote in good conscience and agree to disagree and get on with it. So I do wish him all the very best. Epping Road has opened up even further again now. The traffic's flowing, which is fantastic, just in time for probably another array of housing developments, but let's enjoy the traffic flowing while we can. I really do hope that we can work closely with the state government, even though all of our powers have been relinquished as a council in terms of our planning. And I really do hope that we can think ahead and work closely with the state government, whether we like it or not. No matter who wins this the state election this year, we need to make sure that we always champion to all sides of politics. And I say sides because it's plural. I think we're moving away from a two-party system, which is probably not a bad thing. It's in terms of getting bang for buck. I do want to, through the CEO and the staff, can you please pass on, I think on behalf of the sentiments for everybody with the ongoing fires. There's so much work in council. The Deputy Mayor, Councillor Colwell, touched on it earlier. A lot of work that council officers do goes unnoticed, and there's always people working around the clock and at great cost to their family. And yes, it is their job, but I can assure you that there's many staff that go above and beyond the duty and their role. And like we know these days that it's not always on the job description, and I don't think that's any exception to the council officers. So to the CEO, I've no doubt you've had some sleepless nights and working around the clock with your skills in emergency the services. And so for all those unsung heroes there, not just doing their job but going above and beyond, thank you very much. I also would like to note that the new contractors, I think the grass is, of course, we don't want to get, the residents don't want to get confused between what is a main road and what is a local road. But I do think that there's been a significant positive impact in terms of the contractors. So they won't always get it right, but I certainly have seen that going around. State roads, that's another issue. It probably falls into the potholes category that Councillor Lenberg was talking about, but we are certainly doing our best. I do want to highlight, and I'll say this 100 times, that we have a golden opportunity and a blank canvas of a city with so much surrounding land. And I would throw it out there, if we could just do 1,000 acres and put it aside for a point of difference, whether that's a Silicon Valley for the city or whether it's a business precinct, I think we've got huge opportunity, which most metro councils don't have. So I really do hope that we can get our collective thoughts together, and the community as well, to plan the next 10, 20 and 50 years, because we get one chance at it, and I certainly don't want just a sardine cans of urban sprawl. I certainly want to have balance there and have a point of difference so that people have got a reason to come to the north side. So I think it's exciting times on that front, despite the fact that we're still in $188 billion, and that changes, I guess, in state debt. But we're certainly doing, we're punching about our weight as a council, and I really do hope that we can get some good things in the state budget this year, despite the lack of funds and the high interest that we're paying on behalf of all Victorians. But we're doing our little bit, that's for sure. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Lappin.
Thank you, Chair. Mine will be very brief and not as broad as other councils, I guess. I went to a sustainability expert speed date session. This was run by the City of Whittlesea down at Prac. So what it was, basically, you would go there with, you would talk to someone who's an expert in being sustainable or EVs or architecture or things like that. You'd go there and ask questions and sort of just get a bit of knowledge from them. And so we spoke with, I think it was 10 Star Homes, something like that, and just going out about how to make the home more efficient, like established homes as well. I think there's lots of good ideas when you're building a home from scratch, but obviously for a lot of people, it's about making the home you're in more comfortable and going through ways like that. So I found that really helpful, and I thought that was a really good initiative by council. We also went to the opening of the Aboriginal Gathering Place. This is a really beautifully built building in a stunning location, and it's fantastic to see it finished. I really would encourage people to go and check it out. I think it's stunning. The Gathering Place will be a really essential role in local education, reconciliation and truth-telling, and I feel very proud to be part of a council which has delivered a project at such an important place, and I know it's going to have a great impact on our community. We also attended, as part of the committees with council, a Northern Alliance of Greenhouse Action meeting where we discussed our strategy plan, which we developed last year, and we're now just refining that down. So hopefully next month that gets endorsed by the committee. But there's really positive things happening there and good developments, and it's good to get those ideas from the 9 councils as part of that committee. And that is all, Chair. I left my state campaign material at home, so I'll do that next time.
Thank you. Councillor Gunn.
Gong hi fatoi, or happy Lunar New Year to everyone. Where a large part of our community celebrates the coming of the Year of the Horse. Celebrations can last up to 16 days throughout this time. We've been through the festive season and we've all celebrated in our own way, and I hope everyone enjoyed this bit of time with family and friends. On the 17th of December, I visited Love Thy Neighbour, who operate out of Painted Hills Ward and do an absolutely wonderful job supplying food to over 400 families in the city of Whittlesea. A great cause, and if there's any way you can assist, please reach out to them and offer that assistance. As councillors, we've all been very busy over the December, January and into February. We've been doing training, briefings, meetings, and I've been involved with 2 of the committees I am on, being CMAC and the Community Awards, and I have a whole bunch of reading to get done by next week's meeting for the Community Awards. Also in January, I got the opportunities to celebrate my mum's 80th birthday. We had a wonderful day with immediate family and a couple of close lifelong friends at a local restaurant, and it was a great day. I too was at the Aboriginal Gathering Place and opening, and let me say it is a stunning venue with stunning views, and it's something that our council can be highly proud of for delivering to our community. In closing, I just want to wish everyone a peaceful, prosperous, happy and healthy 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to start off by saying that one of the issues I'd like to suggest to the people watching tonight is the fact that how well councillors work together. Now, we don't always agree. We don't sing around holding hands singing Kumbaya. We're quite open in our opinions in relation to certain issues, but we get on with the job together and we air it together and we move forward. And I think that's one of the strengths of this council. In relation to events, I've had to curb some of my events because of a council-related injury I received last year, but I'll crack on with it again shortly. Community music, the Whittlesea Community Music Festival was a fantastic event. I was there with Deputy Mayor, the Mayor and Councillor Stowe, and stayed for about 5 hours, spoke to nearly 200 people. It was great. One of the biggest issues they kept raising was the Murder swimming pool. Councillor Gunn, so I just thought I'd let you know about that. I've also been door knocking. People have been saying to me, you know, you're door knocking, but you're not really here. You're not really door knocking. Well, I am. And what I started doing on my social media now is telling you where I'm going to be and where I'm at. And what's actually happened as a result of that, people are now contacting me directly and requesting meetings. And I've had up to 8 meetings already. I think the base are getting, we should be asking for a cut because a lot of the profit that they're getting is stemming from council, from meeting there. But notwithstanding that, it's been great. I've had a chance to speak to a lot of small businesses as well in relation to certain issues. And in relation to the door knocking, I've raised concerns that also on social media that they've raised. I'd also like to thank Council for organising a specialist legal practitioner to come in and discuss social media issues. I found that very helpful and very beneficial. And was very pleased to know that I'm conforming 100% in relation to Council's policies in relation to that. I'd also like to express my gratitude for the excellent work done by ex-councillor Nick Brooks. On many occasions I attended committees that he was at where I saw him put his hand in his own pocket to buy pizzas and food and stuff like that for people who were attending that committee. And even though I tried to give him some money back, he wouldn't take it. So I really acknowledge some of the issues that he's done and the significant contribution he's made to council in the time that he was here. I'm looking forward to, as you know, it gets a busy time for council, and I'm looking forward to now entering into budget negotiations on behalf of my ward, the South Morang ward, with the council, and I'm looking forward to that issue occurring. It's something I take very seriously, and it's something that I've been discussing with my ward in relation to some of those issues. I'd also like to raise the issue, as you know, I'm very strong in relation to, I believe that when it comes to community safety, council does have a responsibility, as we've seen within some of our reports that we've endorsed. And my view in that regard is that crime has no place in South Morang. And that's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Stowe.
Thank you. I'd like to echo Councillor Taylor's sentiments about us working together and working together well. So when I'm out in the community and people say, oh, you're the council that's dysfunctional, we do work together. We don't always agree, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to agree, but we have come to a really great place, I think, where we respectfully disagree. Also pay tribute to Councillor Nick Brooks, or former Councillor Nick Brooks. I saw him as a friend and very close, and I was very saddened and shattered when he resigned. I'd also like to pay tribute to Robert Draper and his contribution to the Pioneer Pavilion at the Agricultural Society and all the work that he did up there. He was often zipping around in his wheelchair, and I'm told that sometimes he'd fall out of his wheelchair, but he was so active even though he was in the wheelchair, and so I was shattered to hear of his passing as well at 89. So over the past period, I attended the Whittlesea Country Music Festival as well. Also, before Christmas, Carols by Candlelight in Whittlesea. In the past week, I attended ALGWA, so Australian Local Government Women's Association workshop online, where they talked about developing better relationships between councillors and CEOs, and that was a very worthwhile webinar workshop to be in attendance with, because they brought up some issues that are prevalent, some issues and ways to work through those issues. I also, in the past period, attended the council group of CFA and councils who opposed the Victorian Emergency Services Levy and the issues that came up there after those fires in Longwood. And there was a very strong feeling around the age of the CFA trucks and how old they are and what they're made to work with as volunteers. Also, mental health was mentioned as having a big impact on the communities once those fires go through. I made myself available twice for community consultations, once in Donnybrook and once in Whittlesea over the period. And the Whittlesea residents came to me with a lot of issues around the road, Grants Road, the dams, and illegal soil dumping in that area. It's something unique, I think, to the North Ward, but it's becoming quite an issue up there. So something that we need to think about. Also, truck parking. I attended a consultation with a member of the public, a resident, about duck parking, and the frogs in Whittlesea and Corella Drive. And I also attended a meeting with the Leader of the Opposition, Jess Wilson, Evan Mulholland, and Wendy Lovell in Donnybrook, talking about the issues that impact Donnybrook, that being Donnybrook Road and the development of Donnybrook Road, footpath connectivity between Donnybrook Road, the residents, and the station. They're looking for more parking at Donnybrook Station. They're also looking for connectivity in the north side of the estates to save people coming out onto Donnybrook Road, and crime's also an issue up there. So I also attended Bundoora Beats, which was a great event, lovely in the Bundoora ward. But over the period, I was quite active, actually, much more active than I thought I was. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stowe. I'll complete. I'll begin. I attended a number of functions in the lead up to the Christmas period, the Whittlesea Multicultural Committee meeting, the Greek Orthodox Women's Association, the Love Thy Neighbour that Councillor Gunn has mentioned, along with the Deputy Mayor, and I listened to their feedback in terms of how they deliver their services and the requirements that they're looking for in the future. We had the Northern Tigers Tamil Thai Pongal event, which was interesting in Thomastown, and a very well presented event. The Nepalese Australia Day event occurred in Wollert, and again at another event, and of course has been on the petitions about a toilet, because they have supplied their own toilets for that event at a cost. The MAV, we had our regional meeting, and there is a change in the structure, which I think we've touched on previously in briefings only, in terms of the future state council meetings and the process of motions at state councils. The Pride event, which Councillor Colwell, Councillor Lenberg and myself attended and marched, and to our staff and to our residents, I think it was a proud event that we participate. And the UNESCO Greek Word Festival, which was an interesting night. I was told it was only a couple of hours, but typical Greek function went several hours, and took me a while to get home. But it's an interesting night in itself, and certainly because we have a very high Greek community in the Thomastown area, it was an event that was well worth being represented at. The Country Music Festival, the Bundoora Beats have already been talked about. Coffee with Council. We had an Outer Melbourne Councils forum last week in City, attended by the CEO and myself. We had a number of citizenship ceremonies, and again, that's been talked about. We have done, I think in the December-January period, something like 700 people in citizenship. And again, I think we've actually caught up, I'm told, but probably there'll be another flood of applications come through shortly. So that's been good. We've been conducting our advocacy continually with local MPs, and we've continued that meeting. And the document that we compiled on the Department of Transport roadside lack of maintenance process has been received very well by the local MPs in terms of a visual presentation and information, and the way that's been handled. The Aboriginal Gathering Place Sunday and the Parkland was a great event, and like Councillor Cole said, it was a fantastic outcome for over 20 years of advocacy for a lot of people. And there was a lot of emotion on the day, and I think that was a rewarding event, but it was something that the City of Whittlesea proudly has delivered on its own. There was no state or federal support into that building, and our staff did a wonderful job in developing and the architectural design. I attended the St Alfonsia Cathedral Parish Feast last Sunday. And today we had a meeting with the Minister, which we reported back on action items, but also, more importantly, the Minister indicated that he was very keen to come out and visit at some point in the not too distant future, which we hope will occur. And I acknowledge that others have already talked about the staff efforts in relation to the fires, particularly in our neighbouring municipalities, and the excellent work that's been done. So, thank you. We'll now go to the update from the CEO.
Thank you, Chair. The $11.4 million Murnong Community Centre in Donnybrook, supported by some funding from the state government, is now complete. That's located in the Olivine Estate, and the new centre delivers a multi-purpose facility designed to support a fast-growing community with spaces for learning, connection and essential services. It includes a mini library branch, kindergarten rooms, maternal and child health suites, a community hall, multi-purpose rooms and an inclusive facility, including a changing places space. An official community opening event is scheduled for Saturday the 21st of February, marking the transition from construction into service delivery. Council is continuing to deliver a multi-million-dollar upgrade to sporting facilities at Huskisson Reserve in Lalor. The project includes a new multi-purpose pavilion, upgraded tennis and pickleball courts, car park improvements and landscaping. Work on the in-ground services for the car park and pavilion are already underway and expected to be completed this month. The project's funded by the City of Whittlesea, with the West Lalor Tennis Club also contributing $50,000. Early works have commenced on the Reed Street playground upgrade in South Morang. This follows the recent completion of the Reed Street car park upgrade, which improves safety and accessibility for people using the Gorge Road shopping precinct. The upgraded playground will include a new and nature-based play elements, landscaping, improved footpath connections and signage, and it'll be a welcoming social space for people of all ages, with the works expected to be completed in the coming months. And finally, we have another special event coming up. The City of Whittlesea Community Festival is coming up on Sunday the 15th of March. Community can join us here on the Civic Centre lawns between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. for a day of fun with local artists and performers, market stalls, entertainment, food trucks, cultural activities and a pet expo. More details are available on our website. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Craig. I note that all the verbal reports will be documented within the minutes. I now move to item 9, which is tabled reports, and I note that we have the Lawler Ward Government by-election report to be tabled in accordance with the local government electoral regulations. The report doesn't require any motion. I will also note on the 24th of April at the unscheduled council meeting, the 2024 local government elections report from the Victorian Electoral Commission was actually tabled and as required under the regulations, and you might recall that night, that was the night Councillor Taylor became the mayor, so at that meeting that report was tabled. I'll now move on to item 10, which is confidential business. So I require a motion to close the meeting to the public at this point under section 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act for the consideration of the confidential item. Do I have a Councillor Zinni, you're moving the motion?
Yes, Chair, I'd like to move the motion as per the recommendation.
Which is to close the meeting to the public.
Which is close the meeting to the public.
And seconder, Councillor Stowe, I'll take you. And I'll now put that to a vote. All those in favour? And it's carried unanimously. And at this point, we will be going into camera discussion, so I'll take a short adjournment for 5 minutes, and that will enable the gallery to